cursor back to this point. And that completes the end of the telephone number programming. So we press the Alt key, which will back us up. Now we could select another telephone number to program, or we hit the Alt key again. It will back us up to the menuing section, so we can go to the next installer menu. Now let's move up to menu 9, which is the area reporting codes. So I'll press the up arrow, and here we are at area reporting codes. Hit the right arrow to enter into that. And our first option here is to select which area, and we're going to be programming area 1. If we want to go to area 2, we press the up arrow, and now we go to area 2. So I'll go back to area 1, and then PRG is program. I hit the right arrow key. First option is the dialer delay time, which is the amount of time following an alarm during which the report may be aborted if the area is disarmed by a valid user. An optional Alm Abort Code may be programmed to report, which is the next option we'll go to. The Alm Abort Code is an optional code that may be reported when an alarm is aborted during the communication abort time window. Now, if you'll notice, if I move the cursor over, there's 2 digits to be completed here for the reporting code. If you're using contact ID or SIA, all you have to do is to make this a non-zero value, for instance a 01. But you must enter 2 digits or 2 placeholders here. Now if we press the individual digits, as you can see, we're moving the cursor between the 2 placeholders. If we need to use the hexadecimal digits, that is A, B, C, D, E, or F, we press the up arrow. Then the keys here, the 2, we can step through its set of codes, 2A, B, C. The 3 will be 3, D, E, F. And then we can move over to the right and put in the next digit. If, for instance, we wanted an FF, we would move the cursor over, hit the up arrow, and then 3, D, E, F. Now each time we move the cursor, the extra hex input goes away, so we'd have to hit the up arrow again to get back into that mode. So in this case, we programmed the Alm Abort Code to be an FF. If we wanted to disable it again, we'd put in a 00, and now that code is disabled. And I'll move back to go to the third option. And this is the CancelWindowTime, which is the third option. And the CancelWindowTime is the time following an alarm during which a cancel code will be reported if the area is disarmed. Cancel is not the same as abort, since the alarm has already reported. And this has a range from 0 to 255 seconds if we put it in here. So we will back out and go to option number 4, which is the Alm Cancel Code. And here, if you make it a non-zero as we put in the codes before, then it will report. That's under a contact ID or SIA. If you're using a 4-2 format, then you must actually put in the code that will be reported here, which is from 01 up to a hexadecimal FF. Going up to the next option, which is option 5, and this is the close automatic code. Now, if the system is going to do automatic closings, this is the code that will be transmitted here. Now, this will be set up through the LRP rules programming instructions. So you'll need to get into the LRP rules to set up this automatic close. Go up to the next option, which is early close. And this will be reported if the area is closed prior to a programmed expected arm time. And here again, it's set up through the LRP rules programming. And the next option is option 7, which is the close extended code will be reported if a programmed expected ARM time is extended by a valid user. So it's ready to close the system, but the user comes up and extends the code. Here again, this is set up through the LRP rules programming. Option number 8 is a failed to close code, and will be reported if the area is not armed by a programmed expected ARM time, which is set up through LRP programming. Option number 9 is a late to close, which will be reported if the area is armed after a programmed expected ARM time, and it's here again set up through LRP programming. Option number 10 is a Keyswitch close code, which will be reported in place of a user code whenever the area is armed by a Keyswitch. And we'll move on to the next option. Option number 11. This is the Duress Code. If you set up address code to be transmitted, this is where you will set up the code in this area. And option number 12. This is open after alarm code, will be reported whenever a valid user arrives and disarms the area following an alarm activation. Sometimes this is referred to as exception opening, but whenever the alarm goes off and this code is active to transmit, it will be reported only after alarm goes off. This allows you to report a disarming of a system without having opening and closing reports all the time. Next option is option 13, and this is the open early code, and it will be reported if the area is disarmed prior to an expected disarm time, and it's set up through the LRP programming. Option number 14 is a fail to open code, and it will be reported if the area is not disarmed by program expected disarm time, which is set up through LRP programming. Option number 15 is a open late code, which will be reported if the area is disarmed after a program expected disarm time. Here again, it's set up through LRP programming. Option number 16 is a open Keyswitch code, which will be reported in place of a user code whenever the area is disarmed by a Keyswitch zone. And option number 17 is a user lockout code, and will be reported if someone is repeatedly trying to enter digits into the system and locks out the keypad. This lockout is set in menu 7 under global system definitions. That's where you can set the maximum number of digits that may be entered without entering a valid user code. The next option is 18. This is the exit error code, and can be used to identify an accidental alarm caused by an error while arming. Locally, it works as follows. If an exit delay rolls directly into an entry delay as a result of a zone being left violated, the entry delay warning and the siren will sound. If the control is not disarmed prior to the entry delay expiring, the communicator will report the alarm along with the exit error code. The next option is option 19. This is the fail to communicate code. If the number of dial attempts expires and the system is not able to transmit an alarm to a central station, this fail to communicate will be activated, and then as soon as you get a valid communication to the central station, this code will be transmitted. And that wraps us all the way back around to the beginning here, back to the installer menuing level, and this completes menu 8 and menu 9.